And Virginia is in the middle of it all, with Hampton Roads weathering a good chunk of this storm. Our team of meteorologists and journalists are covering all angles.
Here are some live pictures from across Virginia and into Washington, D.C. The snowy mess stretches hundreds of miles.
All that ahead, but we start with breaking news from the peninsula. Virginia State Police say this storm has once again turned deadly, this time in Hampton.
10 on your side's Matt Gregory is out there now. Matt, now we know that one person has died from hypothermia.
Yeah, Deanna, we just got word from Virginia State Police that one person has died from hypothermia. And while this storm isn't as bad down here as it is north of here, this is still a very dangerous storm. And Virginia State Police, as well as Virginia or VDOT, really want people to know that if you don't have to go out tonight, don't. Take a look at the road here in Hampton. I'm at Coliseum Drive. You can see it was recently plowed. They're plowing the primary roads in Hampton, especially the ones that are the main arteries that go to the highways, but it still created a very slushy mess. And I saw a couple cars spin out while we've been right here. But what happened earlier, you can take a look at our video. You can see that people were out there. We were at Buckrow Beach to start the day. This was a sleet event at first. In fact, if you can see the video, there's a man surfing, and I don't advise that. He was out there. Said he was very cold, and then later on, as we kept going down the road towards 64, we ran into. We actually saw a car that had spun out and hit a light pole and knocked it down. So Virginia's Department of Transportation has told me, a spokesperson says they will be out doing 12-hour shifts. Their crews will be putting salt and sand down everywhere, and they asked that if you don't have to drive, don't drive. But to bring it all back and give you the latest, we want to let you know that Virginia State Police are reporting that one person in Hampton has died of hypothermia. We're working to figure out how and why this happened, and as soon as we get that information, we'll bring it to you. But if you don't have to go out tonight, if you don't have to drive, state officials and state police are saying don't. In Hampton, Matt Gregory, 10 on your side.
Now, besides that death, we at least know of 13 people who have died from this storm, 6 in North Carolina, 3 in Virginia.
Chief Meteorologist Don Slater is watching everything as it happens in the Super Doppler 10 Weather Center. Don?
Yeah, and we want to take a look at Super Doppler 10 live first, and then we're going to get into another threat that we do have throughout the area, and that is wind that's going to increase quite likely. Here's a look at what's going on. North Carolina first, you're starting to see some of that snowfall that the rest of us have seen. A little bit more solid, moderate snowfall dropping through North Carolina, toward the Elizabeth City area, toward the Hertford area, into Gates County, North Carolina, Murfreesboro area. This is just northwest of Elizabeth City. Hertford and Elizabeth City likely seeing some light snow now. It'll get a little heavier as it drops on through. Here's where things are for the Murfreesboro area and on eastward into western Gates County, a little bit more moderate snowfall as well. And we look at the Hampton Roads area. There's a little swath right here, mostly over the Great Dismal Swamp into Suffolk and Chesapeake. And we're seeing lighter snow in most of the Hampton Roads area, but toward Wakefield, southeast of Wakefield, we're seeing, again, some of that snow. Here's the snow on down near the Great Dismal Swamp. Now, for the peninsula, things are looking considerably lighter in terms of snowfall for right now. We go to Wakefield, or just north of Wakefield, north of 460, actually, and we're able to see a little bit heavier snowfall there, and on up toward Waverly and Petersburg and Richmond. They've had 4 or 5 inches today at last count. Add that to the 4 to 6 inches yesterday, and they've got between 10 and 14 inches of snowfall throughout their area. But the storm is pulling away. You're able to see it right about into here. You'll be able to really clearly see it right there. Very, very powerful storm. And we're watching this as it drops on southeastward. Now, our wind speed and wind direction, that's the next thing. We've seen some very, very strong winds here in the past couple of hours toward the Chincoteague area, Wallops Island area. And last hour, it was gusting to 51 miles an hour, and wind gusts right now are at 41 miles an hour in Virginia Beach, and they're increasing. So right along the shoreline, we're really expecting some strong winds here in the next couple of hours. So that's our most immediate concern, 50 miles an hour, 47, 48, then dropping back on down just a bit through the later hours and on into tomorrow morning. So our immediate concern is the snow. Also watching these winds. They're almost as strong as what we saw last night in the middle of the night. So we'll watch out for that. And of course, we'll have the tides for you. A lot more information in just a few minutes.
And we want to let you know about a crash that happened just before 4 this afternoon in Virginia Beach. One man died near 81st Street and Atlantic Avenue. Police say speed and icy roads may have contributed to that accident.
19-year-old Carly Andrada from Chesapeake died after state police say she crossed into oncoming traffic on 64 West in Virginia Beach just after 7 a.m. They say she was not wearing her seatbelt. Police say the driver of the other car had minor injuries. No word if bad weather was a factor in this. And 3 people total have died in Virginia crashes here in Hampton Roads. Police in Chesapeake say 40-year-old Charles Perkins from Pasquotank County died when he hit a tree on South George Washington Highway last night. They believe he lost control in bad weather.
A majority of flights across the eastern seaboard grounded tonight. This is a look at the Norfolk International website. Let's see if we can get that for you. Checking now, and it looks like flights in from New York, Washington, Raleigh, Durham, Philadelphia, all canceled coming into Norfolk tonight. And our team of journalists is spread out across Hampton roads.
And on your sides, Erin Kelly live in Williamsburg now. And Erin, this is where a good bit of the snow has fallen in Hampton roads.
Well, I just wanted you to see, I don't know if you can notice, but the snow is blowing sideways. The wind's got quite a bite to it. And I want to show you where we are. We're at the intersection of Richmond Road, but down here on the ground, you can see the snow's kind of breaking apart like chunks, like it's got a kind of a hard crust on it from just the iciness of it that's just been blasting all day. It hasn't stopped. Now take a look at the road conditions. This is Richmond Road. We've been driving on this today, and we notice it's pretty slushy, but it's doable as long as you go, slow and as long as you're careful. We have seen a couple cars that have spun out a little bit, or cars that have their tires spinning. We checked in with the city of Williamsburg, and they have their crews working 12-hour shifts. They have 6 plow trucks out. We have seen plow trucks out. Here comes one right now going around the corner. That's a VDOT truck. They have told us, the city of Williamsburg said that the challenge was the duration of this storm, just that the fact that the snow hasn't gone away. It's come back for today. So this is making, this a bit of a challenge for their crews, having this as long as it has been. Now, they had more salt and sand that was delivered yesterday, and while they had an abnormal amount of calls for accidents, the city of Williamsburg said that they had that yesterday. Today it hasn't been so bad, so they really appreciate people staying off the roads if they can, if they don't have to absolutely be out today. And they will be plowing the primary roads and the residential roads in the city of Williamsburg. And that's the latest here off of Richmond Road. We'll send it back to you.
And with the storm pushing across the area, it's a perfect time to stay connected with our meteorologists.
Go download our WAVY 10 weather app. It is free for Android and Apple users.